in this FDP first lecture. I get the opportunity to deliver first lecture in this waste technology FDP. So wastewater, its journey to treatment and return to the environment. Now, the topic which is about waste technology. Friends, waste generation is affected by both population growth and economic activity, and increase in population which tends to result in more and more municipal waste, while an increase in economic activity tends to result in more and more waste from construction and demolition, commerce and industry. And there are three major issues which at present we are facing, that is population, pollution, and because of this, poverty. So the growing world population is causing negative impacts on our so this current model of production and consumption generates lots and lots of wastages in many cases, and most of this wastage does not get reused or recycled. It is said that approximately 62 million tons of solid waste per year is generated in India, out of which only 75 to 80 percentage is collected. And out of that, total waste generation is 62 million tons. In that, the collected wastage is 75 to 80 percentage, and then above that, only and only 22 to 28 percentage is processed and treated. It is estimated that total urban MSW generated in India in 2041 would be around 230 million tons per year. I am again repeating, 230 million tons per year. So this, considering this present situation of our Gujarat, approximately 10,200 metric tons per day of municipal solid waste is generated in the state of Gujarat, out of which only 25.5 percentage is treated, 16.7 percentage is sent to landfill, whereas 57.8 percentage is disposed of in an unscientific manner. In my later presentation, I will show you one of the real case study. I, being an independent director of Bharuch Enviro Infra Limited and ETL Ankleshwar, I have gathered some informations from them, and I will show you how they are treating the waste and converting this waste into best. And in the later phase, I will also showcase one of the real example of pharmaceutical effluent being treated with the help of nanoparticles, which this was the project by one of my PhD student. So this, what I mean to say is, Gujarat alone contributes approximately 28 percentage of hazardous waste generation in India. So the state of Gujarat has also come up with a policy that is called as Waste to Energy Policy 2016, which lays emphasis upon the proper utilization of waste, which can be used as a source of energy, along with adherence to the established pollution laws. So this global waste to energy, the short form is WTE market, is itself quite a growing sector. And this is an area where you can contribute, you can give some kind of project work, some kind of research work to your masters and PhD students as well as your undergraduate students. This is, one of the area which will require, that will be helpful to our society also if we get some output or some success. So the decrease in the landfill areas, along with the shift in the trend towards energy security around the world, is expected to drive the global WTE market, that is waste to energy market. Realizing this importance in renewable technology, Government of India has also lent its support through various subsidies and incentives. The Ministry of New and Renewable Energy is actively promoting all the technology options available for energy recovery from urban and industrial waste. So, as I mentioned, that the generation of waste in Gujarat is approximately 10,200 metric tons per day. So, out of that, 60% of the volume of waste is generated from packaging and product container, often designed for only a single time use. Until only a few years ago, waste management focused mainly on sending it to the tips to piles up or to the incinerator. So this solution is obviously not sustainable for various reasons, right? What are the reasons? This, obviously it is not sustainable and very harmful to the environment. The reasons are it carries serious risk for the environment, living beings, and human health, does not reduce the consumption of resources. You cannot recycle and reuse the material, and it does not act on the cost, that is the consumption model. The rate of consumption will keep on increases, and it is only focus on the consequence management, that is the waste management. So the way to combat, what is the solution? We being engineers, we are always, we take any problem comes, we take this as a blessing in disguise. And we have that capacity, intellectual capacity and mental ability to fight against the problem which is encountered. It could be any problem related to technology or social or whatever problems. Our spirit and aim is so that we should find out the best optimum solution. So the way to combat the effect is to change our model of production and consumption. I mean to say that shifting from linear economic model to a circular economy. So now that focus is, on finding out some kind of, innovation, some kind of innovative ideas in such a way that we can convert the waste into some kind of energy. So one of the biggest innovation coming to the waste management industry is the ability to turn waste into actual power. So instead of just normal landfill or a certain type of waste can be converted into energy, new machinery known as digester can take the waste and the biogas it produces and convert it into energy that can be used on this site. So this kind of technology can be used on a variety of waste, including food, animal waste, agricultural leftover, and many more. There is one more technology, innovative technologies, where I would suggest again to our faculty members to contribute in this area. That is thermal conversion is another new technology that can be used to convert waste into specialty products. So this product takes some cues from natural geothermal processes that use heat and pressure to turn useless material into useful products. It could be used to turn waste like chemicals, fertilizers, oils, and other things that could give your waste another life. Some landfill gas can also be converted into energy, but this type of gas would normally be released or flared. Now, this, instead of flaring, you can convert it into energy with the aid of some new technologies like bioreactors, micro turbine technologies, and even fuel cells can also be used for converting the flared gas into the energy. So with this is, there are so many other technologies and researches which are taking place. What I have done in my original presentation is I would initially begin with a very simple terminologies related with waste technology or environmental technology. Then I will give you what kind of practice is being followed at ETL and BIL. They are using, in fact, the technology mainly focuses on landfill, and they are using multiple effect evaporator. And as I said, that the second case study, I would give you some highlight. Nanotechnology would be a very important area. You can combine or you can use that technology for converting waste into the some kind of useful product or the material which would be good for the environment. So to begin with, next. Okay. So, as I mentioned, this is the era of 21st centuries, and our major headache is the pollution. And we being a developing countries, this is, one of the biggest issue and biggest problem. And we know that my presentation would be focused on wastewater particularly. It could be from any industry and later in pharmaceutical industries. So I'm focusing on wastewater, and we all know very well, and so many things you have so far aware of those things: no water, no life, etc., etc. So wastewater is mainly generated from two areas, mainly from two areas, domestic as well as industrial areas. As I mentioned, that we wanted to convert the waste into some kind of a wealth, right? Uh, what is this? I'm since it is a first lecture of this FDP. So as if I have prepared a presentation in such a way that you are a students of some undergraduate or postgraduate students. So some simple terminologies I have used. You are very much aware about all these things, but just as a part of revisions, I've used this simple terminology. So this wastewater, which is also known as a used water, is used for many purposes like domestic, industrial, institutional, and commercial. And that is called as a wastewater. So what is our purpose? Our purpose is to use this water, and when this water gets defined as wastewater, we wanted to reuse this by using some treatment, and again it can be used for some industrial or domestic application. So water mainly discharged from homes, businesses, industries enters into sanitary sewers. Water from rainwater on streets enter stormwater sewers, which together combine into sanitary waste and stormwater, and it moves forward through gravity to a wastewater plant. And it there is a, once it gets stored with the support of with the help of pump, it flows from lower tank to a higher tanks over the hills. What is the need of treating wastewater? It is very obvious: to remove mainly organic and inorganic matter which would otherwise cause pollution, then to remove the pathogenic disease causing organisms, to protect the environment and human health, obviously. So to manage waste water discharge from homes, business, industry, to reduce the threat of water pollution, uh, mainly, when whatever the water, whether it is a wastewater or any type of water, in order to find out what is the nature of water, we do three type of or analysis, that is physical analysis, chemical analysis, and biological analysis, to determine various characteristics of water. So what are those characteristics of water? When you take the sample of water, you mainly do these three types of analysis: physical analysis, which consists of finding out the turbidity, the color of water, the taste of water, odor, that is the smell, temperature. When you talk about the chemical analysis, you try to find out the TDS, that is total dissolved solid, pH value, hardness, alkalinity, fluoride, organics, metals, nutrients, etc. Biological or bacteriological is, it gives you idea about the indicator organism. I request other participants to please mute your mic. It is getting, some kind of disturbances. Indicator organisms. Indicator organisms gives you idea about which type of bacteria or viruses which are present in the water, and total and fecal coliform gives you idea about the quantity and quality of this bacteria which are present. So this, very, very simple and definitions about pH, electrical conductivity, dissolved solids, from that what exactly you be able to find out. Say, for example, through dissolved solid, you would be able to find out the composition of solids present in the water, then total hardness, dissolved oxygen, very important parameter. From dissolved oxygen, there are two subsections: chemical oxygen demand, that is COD, which determines the oxygen required for chemical oxidation of organic matter with the support of oxygen. Biological oxygen demand, which gives you the idea about the amount of oxygen required to carry out biological decomposition of solids which are present in the wastewater. Alkalinity, which gives you idea about the presence of hydroxides and bicarbonates. Then chlorides and sulfates, the quantity of chlorides and sulfates which are present, the fluorides which are present, phosphorus which are present, ammonium nitrogen which are present in the wastewater. This is one of the, one of the substance which is, required to be taken care of, considering the human health. Sodium and potassium. So wastewater composition, when you talk about the wastewater composition, generally this data I've taken it from the these are the, real industrial data. I've taken it from the, as I said, the waste treatment plant, and these are the real data. So this composition domestic wastewater, they distribute, or they categorize into three category: weak, medium, and strong. Right. So if the wastewater is coming under the weak category, they see different parameters starting from total solids, total dissolved solids, fixed amount of contaminants, volatile contaminants, suspended solids, again that categorized into fixed and volatile, settleable solids, BOD, and total organic carbons. And these are the ranges which are given in this table. I'm also sharing, I will, in after completion of my lecture, I will share my PPT to the coordinator. You can later on collect it for further future reference. Uh, the other contaminants are chemical oxygen demands, nitrogen, organic, free ammonia, nitrates, phosphorus, organics, and inorganics. These are the general guidelines which gives them the idea that the sample falls under which category. What are the disease causing agents? Mainly this disease causing agent is pathogenic microorganisms. And because of that, um, the diseases like waterborne diseases like cholera, dysentery or typhoid, there are other also which generally takes place. So these pathogens are generally carried in water by sewage and waste from farms and various industries. And when this water comes in contact with pathogen, and if it is used as a potable water, that there is a possibility of causing such waterborne diseases, as I mentioned. These are, some peculiar pathogenic microorganisms are there, and typical treatments are also being provided so that that would be eliminated completely. There are synthetic organic compounds which are found in the wastewater. Depends upon from which industry or from whether what is the source from which this waste is coming, which includes pesticides, synthetic organic chemicals, detergents, etc. And unfortunately, these compounds are not biodegradable. Pesticides, one of the very important and uh, the chemicals which needs a proper treatment. It is observed that last decade or 15 years, the number of cancer patients are increased. Particularly, more number of cases are coming in the females, and that is only the concluding is only because of the increase of use of pesticides in our day to day, whether it is a food or our water, right? So pesticide is a substance used for, generally people are used in farm for destroying the insects or other organisms, uh, to harmful to cultivate plants or animals. And these pesticides are classified into insecticides, herbicides and fungicides. So these chlorinated organic pesticides like DDT, dieldrin, eldrin are hazardous mainly due to their concentration in the food chain, and they are highly stable. They are not only they are highly stable, they have a low vapor pressure and very low solubility in water, and substantial solubility in oils and fats. So for example, generally it is less than 0.00001 ppm of DDT, but that is also considered to be harmful. Detergent are also sometimes found in some good quantity, substantial quantity, and in the wastewater, which contains approximately 35 to 70 percentage of phosphate salts. And phosphate salts, which it causes variety of waste pollution problems. For example, it leads to biodegradation of organic substances. Some plant nutrients are also observed or found in the wastewater. Inorganic chemicals and minerals like calcium carbonates, lead, manganese, arsenic, sulfate, etc., are generally found. Sediments, when it is passing through various um, areas, so the soil, sand, mineral particles also washed away along with the water, uh, and these sediments are generally found in a very good number, particularly in the rock regions. Radioactive substances, if the source is from power plant or some kind of nuclear activity, some nuclear reactors are there, so the wastewater which is coming out contains some, even a very very small amount, but some amount of radioactive substances. The thermal discharge, like waste heat, is observed in power plant, wastewater coming out from the power plant. So this, the temperature of the water is generally more than the normal temperature or room temperature or environmental temperature. So this DO concentration, when the temperature of water is high, the dissolved oxygen concentration decrease this together with increased biological activities. which results in anaerobic condition, and because of that, there is a chance of more number of increase of algae in the water, and toxicity of pollutants also increase with increase in temperature. Oil is also, oil spill takes place at different places, oceans and seas, or in petroleum refineries or petrochemical plants, even polymer plants. And this oil floats on the surface or water surface and prevents the atmospheric oxygen from mixing in the water. So this is, one of the issues which need to be taken care of, and because of that it coats the body of aquatic animals and birds, and it may also kill them. So this oil includes polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, which is known as a PAH, and some of which are known to be carcinogenic in nature. So these are the, various which whatever I mentioned are the various impurities. I'm using the word impurities or waste, which are generally found in the water, and because of that we are defining that water as a waste water, right? This, I repeat again, these are the I have taken directly from the treatment plant, and most of the time they are finding this substances in a small amount or maybe a big amount, but these are generally the substances which are obtained. uh, I'm using some terminologies for wastewater engineering. To begin with, I'm not going in detail. Biosolids, which are classified into class A and class B. What do you mean by class A? Class A means biosolids in which the pathogens are reduced below current detectable level, and class B means are treated but contains higher level of detectable pathogens than class A biosolids. The characteristics, compositions, constitutions, all these things, that's what I'm saying, that I'm uh, sharing this presentation after my lecture gets over. It will be useful to you for future purpose, for future use. What are, these things are very much, um, the government is aware of all these issues since last so many years, and because of that, both state and central government uh, imposes some kind of laws to control the water pollution based on some standards. A water prevention and control of pollution act was passed by the parliament, the first law in 1974. So what was the objective? Was to control the water pollution and to maintain and quality. uh, the agencies which specify the norms for various effluent to be discharged in water bodies, that are Indian standards institutions, ISI, World Health Organizations, WHO, United States Public Health Service, USPHS, Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR. The water quality, what should be the, the standard potable water quality? Based on these two standards, I have made a comparison. uh, I must say that Indian standards are much better, or they have more stringent standard compared to WHO standards. You can see this. You can see the comparison of pH, electrical conductivity, TDS, total hardness, temperature, calcium, and magnesium. Specification of drinking water as per IS 10500 standards. These are the parameters which have been taken into consideration. So waste water treatment technologies are generally classified into, as I said, basically three types are there, but there are subcategories. Subcategories are also existing. So the simplest and the first and foremost method is physical method, filtration, filtering membrane separations to remove some visible solids or any material which are present in the wastewater. The second treatment, what we call it as a chemical methods for neutralization, oxidation, and electrical chemical oxidations. People are using either one or two or combination of two or three treatments, and there is a combination of physical and chemical methods uh, ranging from coagulation, flotation, sorption, ion exchange, etc. And there is a biological method which is very gives some fine result or tuned result, processes with suspended biomass, that is activated sludge, attached biomass, immobilized enzymes, aerobic processes, anaerobic processes, anoxic processes, sets of combination of aerobic, anoxics, and anaerobic processes. These are combination of these processes gives a very good result, optimized result. And there is a disinfection methods which is generally very common nowadays, that is ozonation and chlorinations. So as I said, three treatment: primary treatment, mainly mechanical treatment; secondary treatment, which includes biological; and tertiary treatment, that is mechanical, biological, as well as some portion of chemical. So as I said, this is a very, very simple wastewater treatment uh, sequence which I have shown here in this graphical way. Pre-treatment is there, where the wastewater is getting collected and passed through the screens to remove some objects which are observable, then sent to the grid chamber sludge, where it gets sedimented, then pass through some aeration tank uh, for final sedimentation, then some disinfection treatment, and finally then sent to some digester and sludge drying bed, right? So this is a very simplest way of wastewater treatment, where not much complex waste are present in the waste. But if there are some complex wastages, like in form of chemicals or biological organisms which are present, you require some more treatment, some more methods to be added. So as I said, that I have taken one simple small case study of Enviro Technology Limited, Ankleshwar, which is state of art CETP consisting of primary, secondary, tertiary, and MAP treatment process, ISO certified company, and it was started in the year 96-97. Just to give you some ideas about the company profile, and they are very much in contact for research and development. They are in contact with getting advice from NIRI Nagpur, as well as various IITs also, particularly IIT Kanpur. So they are using this microorganisms which were developed indigenously in the laboratory. What they do is this bacteria which use for stabilization of certain organic matter. So when this organic matter are found in the wastewater, they combine this organic matter with the bacteria. In the zoom section, you can see that there is bacteria easily gets connected with organic matter. And what happens that the density of this combination of organic matter and bacteria, what we call it as a protoplasm, is that density is more than the density of water. I repeat again, what these people are doing is they have developed, with the support of IIT Kanpur, a specific kind of microorganisms which they have not disclosed. In fact, they bacteria or microorganism. This bacteria is used for the stabilization of organic matter which are present in the waste. So when this organic matter is come in contact with bacteria, there is, very good affinity for bacteria to get connected with this organic matter. And because of this connection, the combination, they becomes protoplasm. And the density of this protoplasm means it is a combination of microorganism as well as and the dissolved colloidal and dissolved organic matter. So this density of protoplasm is more than the density of water, and because of that it gets sedimented, or by gravity it gets settled. So whatever the organic matter is there is being removed, majority of the organic matter being removed with the help of microorganisms. There are two types of processes are there. uh, Even when you are doing some kind of physical exercise, also classified as a aerobic and anaerobic. It is very, very simple. Aerobic process means you are taking support of some kind of oxygen, or oxygen is being used by microorganisms for decomposition. Whereas anaerobic processes where you don't require any support or supply of oxygen for decomposition of microorganisms. So if we focus on aerobic processes, excuse me, if we focus on aerobic processes, oxygen is used by these microorganisms for decomposition, and organic matter is oxidized by converted into stable products like carbon dioxide, water, and cell tissues. Where you can use this aerobic process, it is suitable for BOD less than 500 milligram per liter, and most commonly used system are activated sludge process and trickling filters. Anaerobic processes where oxygen is not used by microorganisms for decompositions. So when you have a complex organic compounds which is being converted into lower molecular weight fatty acid like acetic acid and propionic acid, this anaerobic process is being used. So this is, a trickling filter plant is there, and uh, one of the unique part, trickling filters, you are very much aware the operations and etc. But as I said that they have developed their own microorganisms with the support of IIT Kanpur faculty. What exactly this trickling plant? How it works, trickling filter plant works. So you can see that in this figure, trickling filter consists of the inlet, sorry, it consists of the inlet, that is influent pipe, the distribution of water through rotary distribution, continuously moving, distributed in a rotary system way. Filter bed is there. Uh, Below there is under drain system, and outlet, that is effluent pipe. The PET materials which are used are crushed stone, large gravel, and plastics. But the unique, as I mentioned, the unique part is the water and oxygen passes through the bed, which consists of organic matter which diffuses into film by the microorganisms which are present in the slime layer. They have, distributed the microorganisms in a uniform way. So through sprinkler, when the water is sprayed on the top of this bed, these microorganisms comes in contact with organic matter, and when it comes in contact with organic matter, it diffuses into a film, uh, converted into a slime layer, and through, because of that, you can, that sedimentation takes place. So trickling filters are generally classified into three categories: low rate filter, high rate filter, and super red filters. In this particular CETP, they are using super red filters having very high capacity of BOD removal of around 65 to 85, continuously operated plant. What improvement they have made, I have taken few pictures of this improvement, but as I said in my inaugural speech, if possible, I don't know whether it is feasible or not, if possible, even if you get that opportunity, you must visit this site and see how the treatment takes place. It is just nearby Bharuch, and if you want to go and visit the place, just let me know. I will get all the clearance and permissions for all the participants. This is, the landfills they have prepared. Initial stage of landfill is there. This is secured landfill cell ready to receive the hazardous waste for disposal. And finally, if you see the final pictures, these are the operations, landfill operations which are taking place. So you can see that on the right side, they have, covered this landfill completely with Jatropha plant. You can see that. I will show you once again the early pictures. These are the early pictures. These are, the transportation, stabilizations, operations method. And you can see that completely covered with Jatropha plant. So it looks very beautiful from outside. So this is about one of the case study of CETP. Second, as I mentioned, that one of my PhD student, which I guided and completed a PhD with a very good, substantial research work she carried out in the area where pharmaceutical waste is being treated with the support of photocatalytic oxidation using some combinations of various nanoparticles. Yeah, right. It's a very unique work, and it was highly appreciated by different organizations. I fortunately, three different papers are published in standard Scopus journals with some good impact factor. Uh, this is, a little bit complex, but what I was trying to tell you is, uh, why I'm showing this to you is, you can explore various methods. You don't know where you get, clicked. And one more thing I would like to tell you at this platform is that whatever the work you carried out, always look for whether that work would be able to get patented or not. This is nowadays very, very important. And the best part of this is our government of Gujarat education department is proactive and motivating, encouraging all the faculty members and students that if they are ready for applying for the patents, they are providing not only the financial supports, but some legal guidance has also been provided. You must be aware about the SSIP cell. Through SSIP cell, you can apply for patents. But applying for patents, submission of patent is very, very important and must. I'm very happy to say that not only my papers, our students' paper got published in some good corpus journal papers, but patent also got filed, and it is on the last or second last stage of approval. So this is, nanoparticles method, and this nanoparticles, I will show you that it has been prepared in our laboratory only, right? With minimal support of equipment and instruments. You can see the photographs, photo nanoparticle synthesis being carried out in by using the laboratory apparatus and equipments only, And if interested, I can also give you some kind of guidance or support. But most of the time we think that we are not able to do, or we can't do some kind of research. It takes place only in UDCTs or IITs or some national institutes, because we don't have much resources available. It is not like that. If you have that will, you will find out the way anyhow, right? So these are, some of the results which are positive results, successful results. This is, nanoparticle synthesized and pattern with peak, which is obtained. Just for your information, I am showing this data to give you idea that you can also think of, combining some kind of research, interdepartmental, intradepartmental research, and gives you sometimes a very good results. This is, where solar photocatalysis taking place. We kept all this sample on the terrace where the sunlight is coming. These are the results, which you can see that there is a substantial decrease in the COD value. Almost we got highest result is around 51% in when pH was 3, we got 57.63% efficiency. So I thank you very much. The session is open for question and answers.
Participants, you can ask questions. The session is open for discussion. No question?
Madam, if possible, I don't know, it is since it is in online mode, but if you get some opportunity, please uh, take them. Alok Gautam sir is there in the one of the attendee. He is associated senior professor in Shroff College. So he will also give some kind of, support and guidance for visiting these places.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir. We will try to arrange, and if any problem is there, we definitely contact you.
Thank you. Thank you very
Yes,
much,
sir.
madam. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Because practical, if they see, then it will be beneficial for them also.
Yes, certainly. It will be very
Yes.
much
Hello, sir.
helpful and beneficial. Yes, please.
Hello, Wagla sir. Sir, we can plan the visit, ETL or BIL. They will allow the mobile, so we can plan online.
No, no, no. So that way it is difficult because I don't think so. They give permission that way. They give permission, physical permission, and they in some small groups like 15 to 20 participants. Uh,
Okay, okay.
it takes around 1 or 2 hours, so you can plan in such a way that you first take 20 students, 20 participants, and in the second batch 20, third batch 20. One day it will be
Okay,
completed.
okay,
Okay.
okay, sir.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Participants, kind request. The session is open for discussion. No questions? Okay, I think then we need to conclude the first session. Thank you, Dr. Sachin Parikh, sir. Sir has very well explained wastewater, its journey to treatment and return to the environment. Sir has explained the basic term, what the water is and what the wastewater is. What are wastewater treatments? What are disease causing organisms? Various laws related to water pollution and various treatments related to wastewater, primary, secondary and tertiary. Sir has very well explained the case studies, the use of nanoparticles in wastewater treatment. That is the inspirational thing for all of us. We can also try and work on these things to take care of the water, because sir has very well said, jal hai to jeevan hai. Water is the natural source and we all must conserve it. Thank you, Dr. Sachin, for being with us and explain these things in a lucid manner. We are very much blessed with your presence. Thank you very much, sir. Hello. Hello. Sir, are you there with us? Okay, second session, there's a lunch break now. Second session will start around 1:30. All are requested to join in the second session.